Hey everyone, welcome back to our inspirational interview series. I'm Hannah Levin with Heartfelt Wellbeing, and I'm so excited to have Tammy Magnuson with us here today. And we're just going to dive right in. We're
Awesome.
talking about, yes, healing conflict, letting go of conflict through using memory. So, welcome, Tammy. And can you just give us a little introduction to who you are?
Yeah, I came into this work due to an injury, due to depression. I was laying on the bed and I literally was so toxic and so stressed
Mm.
that my own body couldn't hold my baby inside of me. And so that was like the turning point where I was like, I have to find something. And I happened upon this work on YouTube, Robert Smith, Faster EFT. And then in 2017, so that was probably 2009, 2017, I ended up exasperating an old knee injury, was set up for a total knee replacement, tried 3 different doctors, tried a whole different technique. They all said, no, you need a total knee replacement. I was like, what if this stuff works? I've seen it heal bodies, so I did it. And 2 weeks later, I was off crutches and, I used what showed up for me is how I want to say it, because I definitely found options and found the pain-free book. I found like a lot of other resources, the melt method. And then I was off crutches. And so I canceled that knee appointment. I thought this stuff is really powerful. So I'm a mom of 5 and I have a pony party business, love animals, and really always loved positive mindset. It's just that I didn't know when I wasn't positive what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this
Yes,
really changed it.
I bet a lot of people can identify
Relate?
with that feeling of like, oh, these
Exactly.
feelings, what do I do? What do I
Right.
do? Yeah. So tell us about what how do you define memory and
Yes.
and then work with it?
Okay, so something to really understand is that, which I didn't know, a sensation in your body is a memory, right? So I'm very visual, so I will see my memories, but some
Mhm.
people just hear stories or they have sounds and that sound means something to them. So if you've ever had, well, you've probably seen movies where there's a war victim, right? And he's been in war, and as soon as he hears a sound, he thinks it's a bomb again, right? Well, why does our body do that? Because our subconscious is so fast that it boom goes straight back to a memory, and that memory has a program for here's how we react inside of our body. So there's a shock, right? If somebody were in a battle and had this happen, they would have a shock. If you've had a car accident and there's a sound, you might have this flash and you feel your body get hot, or you'll feel
Yeah.
this pressure in this fear response. Well, it's just the sound has a memory, and it runs back there and finds out what it is and how your body should react. So,
Mm.
and then a sensation, the way that
Mhm.
we feel sad or lost or unincluded or unimportant, all of that is a memory. Our brain is super duper fast. Our subconscious is so fast that if we touch a stove, our hand is off before we realized it's hot. And that's how quickly it goes back to access. What do
Mm.
we do in this situation? And then it just floods the body and the body responds. So
Mm.
we get a lot of responses that were kind of like, why am I doing this? Or why did
Mhm.
that happen? What was I thinking?
Yeah. I think a lot of us then end up not actually living in the present, right?
We're
Or
we're not able to.
yeah,
It's really not anybody's fault. We try to be
right.
in the present, right? And trying isn't doing it.
Mhm.
Trying is like
Yeah,
effort, right? But doing
right.
it is doing it. So, uh, yeah, it's impossible to live in the present if you're unconscious of how your brain just keeps going back and using memories, which, like I
Yeah.
said, are not just visual, they're auditory, they're taste, they're smell. You smell something and you're like, oh, I feel like I
Yeah.
did at grandma's house, a memory. So I want to broaden the thoughts around what a memory is. It's
Mhm.
not just like how you see something, it's all of these things.
Mhm. Can you share with us, you have this story that I had posted about your stepson
Oh, right.
that you changed. the memory.
Right.
So will you share that? I think in sharing that, you'll share a bit about
How?
how
Yes.
memory can heal
Yes.
too. Yeah.
So I really struggled with this. I was like, my memories are real, and I'm not going to believe some lie that this didn't happen and blah, blah, blah. So, just to ease your mind a little bit, number one, I had a whole slew of things that happened in my life based on a memory. And when I talked to my dad about it, he said that I wasn't there. So, I want you to understand that your memories, they're now documented that they're about 50% accurate. All right. However, they're not happening right now. So the only thing that's keeping it alive is that spark in your brain and that visual, auditorial, kinesthetic, taste, or smell that's letting you think it's real. And then your body reacts from that. Okay. So that's the first thing that we really want to understand is that these memories that we want to hold, we're like, that did happen to me. That did happen. Okay, it did. However, as soon as that memory pops off in your head, your body believes you. And
Mm.
you'll know that if I say your ex's name, if I say somebody that passed away, as soon as I say their name, like your body reacts, right? And that's due
Mm.
to the memory. So my son was about, I think he was in ninth grade. He wasn't driving yet. And he was struggling with school. He wanted to be homeschooled, which I offered to do because I was homeschooling everybody. Up until then, he wanted to be public school. So we homeschooled him, and he was struggling to get his stuff done. So I said, well, go outside and run. You need to run up and down the driveway really quick. Just take a break. Well, after like 5 minutes, I'm like, is Isaac back yet? And so I called for him and I looked for him and I couldn't find him. And so then I'm like, Isaac. I thought, well, maybe he walked out in our woods. We have 20 acres. And so this whole story is like, it was winter. It was super duper cold. I remember because I'm like, I had my kids out finally. I'm like, guys, come help me find Isaac. So I went and got my other kids. And I'm like, get your gloves on, it's really cold out. And I know that it was afternoon because it wasn't dark yet. And when it started getting dark, I got really scared. And that's when we called the cops. And so he had literally ran away because I mean, there's pressure that us as parents, we don't know that we're putting on kids, right? I thought I was giving him a break. He was taking it a whole different way. And so he didn't want to live with us anymore. So he made up a story. I don't know. I mean, whatever the story is that he, was peeping in on my daughters and having struggles with sexual thoughts towards them and things. So my husband's like, he's not coming back here. So he basically had been alienated, but he always blamed me. He hated me. Like I tried talking to him. I tried all of these things for a while. And then I was just like, he needs to be alone. Well, then when I came across this technique, I'm like, oh my goodness. I was actually sitting in church and I'm like, oh, I have this whole thing against Isaac and all these horrible memories of all the time, all the lies, all the, all of these things that happened. And I need to really rewrite those, deal with them. And then I did that. And then I just like felt so much inner peace. And that's the thing. Your memories are leaving you out of your own inner peace. And we say, oh, well, I want inner peace, but we don't really even know how to do it until we've cleaned up that memories and the mental mess. I'm reading a book right now by Carolyn Leaf, and she said it's called Clean Up Your Mental Mess. I highly recommend it. You need a sustainable tool that can help you deal with your own mental issues because you don't want to pay someone forever and they're not always going to be there. And you don't want to keep switching practice. You just want to be able to do this for yourself. And that's really, really important. So we did that. And then at Christmas time, he called up and asked if he could come be part of the family. He took me aside and apologized to me. And here's where I knew that it worked. I was just like, no big deal. Like he had apologized before and I would be like, you should be sorry. Like you can't do this to our family. Do you know how much this hurt us? I mean, Maria was your friend and you just left and you didn't want to come back. And, this is what I used to be like when I would get an apology. And this time I knew I was different because I was just like, you know what? It is not a big deal. Don't even think about it again. And that's how I really felt. I wasn't just saying nice,
Yeah.
which is what we do a lot, right? So in the way that we change memories, I call it the good, bad, good collapse. So if you've ever been in a state of feeling really in love with your partner or your child or your mother, it can be anybody. You're really in love with them. Like you're thinking about like, oh, it was so wonderful when they did this, and I remember this date when they did this. You were like, your memories are lining up with that emotion to prove that it's true. So we call memories proof. We also call them resources. How you saw it, how you felt it, how you know it, how you smelled it, how you tasted it, how you heard it. And so if you're angry at that person, then you can't think anything good about them. It's the same exact person.
Mm.
But what did we do? Now we're saying they're a terrible, mean person. They're constantly berating me. And then you go back and you find the truth for that. The truth is the way that those memories line up to prove it. So if we're in a good state and we go back to a bad memory, this is a technique that really works as long as you're careful and you know how to not mess up your good memory. Don't take the bad stuff and bring it forward. Take this good feeling, take it back there, just notice what's changed. And notice also, this is really interesting. In bad memories, what I've noticed with my clients is in bad memories, they tell me it as though they see it from their eyes or are experiencing it from their own physical body.
Mm.
Like they could be 5 years old and they'll be like, well, my mommy's kicking me or my mom is kicking me. They say it like they're right there. But in a good memory, they'll say, well, I saw they'll say things like, I see me walking down the street or I see me walking on the beach. So now you know your memory changed because you can't possibly see a memory like a fly on the wall, but we do that inside of our brain because it's not real anymore. It's just a play. Here's a really important thing that I learned. Everything inside your head that is not happening right now is you. Does that make sense? Are you sure?
Well, I think when we were originally talking about this, we talked about the internal family systems.
Yeah.
That's something that I use in part in the work that I do with members of the Vitality Circle, my year-long program, and that we look at what are all the voices inside us and who are those characters, and that they are part of you from your life at some point, and they may be an actual voice of like your second grade teacher that you remember, or it might be just a messenger of the judge inside you, or the inner cheerleader or something. So it makes
Perfect.
sense to me in that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I wanted you to explain it because sometimes it's easy to, it's just different perspective. That's perfect. So what that means is that everyone inside our head, the mom that abused us, the dad that left us, that is us. We're creating that drama. Our parents can't fit in there anymore. So it's not real that they're doing it. Is it true that they did it? Yes. But now, as we think about it, we are creating that and doing it to ourselves. And our body, our physical body believes it, even though we don't know that that's what we're thinking about. So there's just been so many things that, even with my stepson, Isaac, that I was reacting the way my dad, like get stricter, like expect more, because then he'll rise to that. And I was acting in that way and not really thinking about like, this isn't how I treat people. Like I saw that way of treating people and I don't do that. But yet when the stress was on, that's how I started to react. And that's because that image and that feeling, that sensation is still inside me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the one that's keeping that alive through, I'm the actor, I'm the director, I'm the voices, I'm the feeling, I'm all of that inside my own head. So that means we can shift it. So you get in a really good state, you find a happy place, something that leaves you feeling really great. You go back and notice that bad memory. And then you come back and get in that good state where you're really super happy. Go back and notice what's changed. And then we just have other techniques that really work called trading places, called expression technique, called parts and pieces. And all of these things help to just like notice how the memory's changing, notice how it's changing, and it's okay for it to change. It still can be true or half true, whatever amount of truth is in it. However, we're not going to let the brain go back there and let us become that character, or worse, or marry that character, have children that act like that, have parents that act like that. We're not going to let, now we no longer have to allow that same behavior to come out of us. Because it's not.
Right. There's an integration, which doesn't mean that they take over, but that we acknowledge, accept, and then choose, right?
Right.
There's
And
a
the
different,
integration, like for us, the integration is all about a total win-win in the memory. It's not that they're sorry. It's not that they feel bad. It's not that they got punished. We don't ever leave a memory like that. In the memory, both people are smiling. And that's when you have made inner peace inside of that memory. If your mom was beating you and now she's taking you fishing, right? Or if your dad left the family and now he's playing games with you at Christmas and you're both happy. But there's a lot to work through. Like the person that the dad left, they don't want dad to be there at Christmas because they are angry. Well, then you deal with the anger. And, dad doesn't deserve to come because he would leave his family. Well, then that thought is in you. And it's a negative thought, and it negatively affects you and how you react. So everybody's happy, and that's an integration. And then you have total peace. And the voices that you're talking about, then you can hear them tell you the truth about you and your worth, your value, and what you deserve.
Yeah. So I could see some people just being like, what? You can't just make it up, like what happened, or, and I also want to bring in the most powerful definition of trauma that I have heard that has been so helpful for me in my own life and coaching many other people has been that it's not specifically what happened to you, it's what you made it mean. That then you carry with you for the rest of your life.
The belief.
As your truth.
Right.
But then it perpetuates
you looking
pain
for it
and suffering, right? And so how do we empower ourselves to change the meaning that we make? And that's exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Exactly. The belief that the little you. So if the little you was abused and she believed I'm bad, I deserve this. I'm what else can we believe? I'm worthless. I'm not smart enough. I'm stupid. So that belief, then we start to create it from the point that we believed it. And so when that memory is no longer true, and remember, we are making up the bad memories too. They're only 50% accurate, if at all. I heard a story. I created a memory where I did it, but I didn't do it. I wasn't even there. So the brain is very, if you don't like making up stories, then quit worrying. See how easy that is?
Great quote.
Exactly. I'm going to write that one down. If you don't
put that on bumper stickers.
Sometimes these great things come out of my head because I love how I understand it now at a deep level that is beyond those positive thinking books. Yeah. It's like now I understand, the depth of what does it take to change. Yeah. And what does it take to create a good habit? Will go back and erase where you started that bad habit, or erase where you thought, you looked up to someone that had that habit, or erase the fact that chocolate equals fun at the birthday party and cake equals people like me. Erase that memory and change it to be true, which is people like you and they came to your party and ate cake.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So we
okay, what was that quote? If you don't like,
if you don't
making up stories or
making up stories, stop worrying. You said there's 4 steps.
Yes.
Do we have time to go through those?
Yes, we do. So I have the stop stress technique. And the reason why stopping stress is super important is because stress is that cycle and it's that pattern. So the brain loves patterns. We were talking about that earlier. I don't think we talked about that here. Like you
No,
wouldn't.
not on the live.
Okay, perfect. So you wouldn't know how to tie your shoe. You wouldn't know how to drive. You wouldn't know how to write or talk. You wouldn't know how to read. You wouldn't know how to do any of these things without the fact that the brain loves a pattern and it does it for you. So now you just look at words and you read them. You don't have to think and try and work at it, right? So, so the patterns need to be stopped. What I thought was when I had hamster wheel mind, you know, when you're like, hurry, figure this out. If you thought about this more, and if you just did this, and maybe they'll say this, and then you need to say this. And like, this is what I would do in my brain. And I thought if I thought about that more, that then I would have answers and I would make a better, like I would fix it in the future when it happens or the next time something happens. So what I learned is we need to stop that pattern instead of letting the brain get a mind of its own, which it loves to do in a pattern. That's how come you drive and you don't even know that you got there until you get there and you're like, oh, I didn't even remember turning there because you weren't conscious. Your brain loves patterns. So we want to stop it. So I've got a stop stress technique. And number one is smile. You know why? Because this is a physical reaction that the brain thinks, oh, wait, I thought we were back here in this old memory where I'm in a trauma and she's smiling. We must not be there, huh? And so it starts to stop the cycle. This was so fascinating. I loved watching this guy. He would go into these places and like do these little tests, and then they would blow your mind. You'd be like, how could this happen? So he took a bunch of people, made them super duper angry, took half of them and put them in a room and let them beat things and throw things and break things, took the other half, put them somewhere where they could draw, do music, be artistic. They came back and they put the person that made them really super mad in front of them on a TV screen because they weren't going to jeopardize the person's life. The people that had gone and went angry, that were so angry, they wanted to kill that person. They never wanted to see him. The people that went into the art and did crafts and arts and music came out and said, you know, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably had a bad day or a bad childhood. Like, it's no big deal. And I was baffled because in psychology, you learn if you're angry, get anger out. So now that I know how the brain works, if you're angry, you need to interrupt it. So I hope that describes why we're interrupting it, because you want a different reaction. Your brain loves patterns. If you're going to stay in the pattern of angry, you're going to start getting angry about little things. And then you're going to be like, why am I even angry about this little thing? Because your brain loves patterns. So smile, look up, and tap. T is for tap. So I tap on these 4 spots between the eye, beside the eye, under the eye, collarbone. While I'm tapping, I just feel my fingers. That's it. It's bringing me back to present. Okay. Then I squeeze my wrist. Take a deep breath in. You can take 5 deep breaths in if you want, but blow out really hard. So O is for oxygen. Good job. And then you go to a happy place. So what just happened is I stopped the stress. I smiled. I gave my brain like, wait, I'm kind of confused. Am I back there in this memory where I'm supposed to make the heart rate beat fast and make all these things happen? Or am I smiling and being present? And then you feel fingers and you're like, oh, I am present. And tapping relaxes the brain. You want the brain to relax so you can make good choices and have your prefrontal cortex working. And then you do that oxygen, you're breathing, you're giving your subconscious a break from having to breathe automatically for you. And then you tell your brain, we're going to a peaceful place. This technique will help you make good decisions, will help relax you, will help stop the stress cycle. And so you can think clearly and be more present. And so I do have a PDF that I can share with people, and you can post it on your fridge and use that for you. So that's kind of a brain hack to deal with the stressful things that come up, and a good habit maker. And dealing with the memories is that good, bad, good collapse. You can play with that and let your imagination, imagine good things for you. Because if you're imagining bad things, that's creating a bad future. Even if
pattern,
even if they're memories, If you imagine that bad memory, that's creating a bad future, because you will look for it and you will find it, and it will, and your brain will keep showing you proof. All right.
Yeah.
So I hope that's super beneficial.
Yes, thank you so much. I know you need to run. Can you tell folks where they can find you?
Yes. So I'm on Facebook, Tammy Magnuson. I have a page. The Stop Stress Technique will put you into my email system so that you'll get notifications of when I'm doing a boot camp coming up, and I'm doing a Legendary Moms coming up, and a Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So it'll get you into the know of things that I'm doing. And I have a YouTube channel. You can look it up, Brain Trainer, or maybe it's 10X Brain Trainer on YouTube. So
Awesome.
thank
Great.
you.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you, and I'm really grateful for all your wisdom that you shared today.
Great. I hope it was very helpful and that it gives you insight into yourself, because that's the best insight we will ever have, is what are we doing inside ourselves so that we can free ourselves.
Yes.
All
Create
right.
a better reality. Yay.
Yes,
Thanks
it
so
does
much.
create. All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.